Two Chairs No Waiting, episode number 772, Catching Up with Folks. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the folks over at WeaversDepartmentStore.com. Drop by over at Weavers and check out the Miracle Salve. I know you need it. It's dry. It's wintertime. You've been inside. This Miracle Salve is good for all kinds of stuff. It's good hand cream. Go check it out. You'll enjoy it. While you're over there, you might want to check out the Mayberry Man playing cards. That's right. Check out those the playing cards. Each card has a different photo from the movie. So go and check those out. Folks, just head over to Weaver's Department Store and check out all the stuff they've got. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners like you. The executive producer of episode number 772 is Jim Sherrill. The High Sheriff of Mayberry is Chris Schmerl. And the Patreon Patron of the Week is Billy Lennox. Hello, everybody. I'm Alan Newsom, your host for Two Chairs No Waiting. And as every week, it is great to have you here in Mayberry with me. The last several weeks, we've been kind of going through an episode of the Andy Griffith Show and kind of talking about it. This one is going to be a little different because we're going to be doing a little bit of catching up as we go. So I think what we want to do is catch up with some of the things from last week. So if you listened to the podcast last week, you heard questions about who said that, who said this. And we've got some answers this week about who said that. So let's go. And the first one I want to go to is Ken Underwood. I will say before we go to Ken, several of you wrote in, and I really appreciate it. I read every one of them. I didn't respond to them all, but because I was going to do it here on the podcast. But we had several people wrote in and gave answers to who said it. And so great job. You guys did a great job with that. Ken called in, so he's going to get a chance to speak up. So head on in, Ken. Let's hear from you.
Hey, Alan. This is Keith Underwood, and I'm calling from Clinton, North Carolina. And I go to Mayberry Days every year, and I've met you several times. But I wanted to answer a couple of your questions there from Monday night. You were, at the end of the show, you were talking about things that were said, and you weren't sure who they were. And there was one that said, it's not a whim if you put on clean underwear. Barney said that. It was in season 4, episode 29, The Rumor, when they thought Andy and Helen were engaged and they were planning a party, and he was trying to delay Andy from going home by taking him and Helen out to supper and told him to wear the uniform because Helen wanted him to wear a uniform. And Andy didn't understand why, and Barney said it was a whim. And Andy says, can I go home and change and put on clean underwear and socks? And Barney says, it's not a whim if you put on clean underwear. So that was Barney that said that. So, and the other one you mentioned was who said fine, just fine on the phone. That was Andy. Season 1, episode 23, Andy and Opie housekeepers. When Aunt B went out of town for a while, and she called home to check on Andy and Opie, and she asked, Andy answered the phone. She asked him how he was doing. He said, fine, just fine. And she asked how Opie was doing, and he said, he's fine, just fine. So that was it. That's the only two I could come up with, but you were asking who said these things. So I just want to call it in and let you know. I enjoy your podcast every week. I really do. You do a great job, and all the fans appreciate it. So you take care, and talk to you soon. Bye.
Well, thank you, Keith. And I called you Ken about 3 times, but thank you. That's because I can't read, because I wrote Keith everywhere. But thank you so much for taking time to call in and give those answers. We'd asked questions like that last week because we had a few quotes that Jan had written down, and we couldn't remember who said them. And that was one of them for sure. or those were some of them. The clean underwear. Several of you wrote in and let me know what the answer was on that, so I appreciate that. But since Keith called in, he gets on. I'm going to mention him. Of course, I called him Ken, so maybe you're better off. I could just name random names, and you guys would be fine. But we had several. One of the other questions I had last week was it was a quote that said, I'm going to put on my square wheels so things don't get going so fast. And that was one I didn't remember. Had several people tell us, including, let's see, I had Lori and Chris and Brent. There were several others, I think, but those were the ones I grabbed their names. They mentioned that was Briscoe Darling who said it, and he said it to Aunt B when he was courting her and he was specializing on her. She was specializing on him, so he was low and lonely. He was ready to go. So evidently he was going to put on his square wheels so things don't get going so fast. So that was Briscoe. We got that one. They mentioned just a second ago the fine, just fine. That was Andy. We had some others that we had some questions on, and one of them. And I can't remember the exact quote that I used last week. I should have gone back and listened to it. But there was some discussion as whether it was Goober or Wally that was talking about pucka, pucka, pucka and all that kind of stuff. Well, the pucka, 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 like an old banty rooster, was definitely Goober, because we definitely do. So let's just for fun, let's check this one out.
As soon as I finish working on Gilly Walker's carburetor. Look at that carburetor. Watch yourself, Ann. It's dripping. It's all from Gilly Walker's car. He's been in trouble with the darnest noise in that car. First it was chop wheat, chop wheat, chop wheat, chop wheat. And I fixed that, and then it was pucka, pucka, pucka like old banty rooster. I think it's all in the carburetor, so I'm taking it all apart. Oh. No wonder Gilly Walker has trouble with that car. Drives the fire out of it. Almost burned his valves out once. Speed, speed, speed. That's all he ever thinks about.
Speed. That's all he ever thinks about. So that's where those quotes from. I can't remember the exact quote we were asking last week, but that was one of them. And then we had one that was about Wally, because we were trying to figure out what Wally had said, because did he say it or did Goober say it? So that's what Goober said. And this is what Wally actually said in Man in a Hurry. He said this.
This year's Mr. Tucker.
Oh, watch your foot. I'm going to rock forward.
Mr. Tucker's car broke down. He needs some mechanical work.
Where's your car now?
About 2 miles out of town on Highway 43.
Now tell me, what did she sound like before she stopped driving?
Well, choked up, it seemed to me, like it wasn't getting any gas. He's got gas in the tank, though. Lots of gas.
Did it sound something like this? First it ran smooth, then it kind of... Then it ran smooth again. Then another... Then she dies.
Yes, that's it.
You got yourself a clogged fuel line.
How'd you know that?
From a sound.
You'll fix it for me, then.
Be happy to.
Fine.
Just an hour's work. We'll tour in tomorrow morning. Get right on it. Say, did you see...
Oh, from the sound. I love that. It is so funny. So those are a couple of quotes. There's some debate a little bit last week about which one it might be. So I grabbed those sound bites for you because I wanted you to be able to hear them. Because, man, are those not great? Just listening to the episode, listening to those clips, just takes you right to it, doesn't it? It's just so amazing. I just love those things. All right, let's see here. We had some more voicemails, I think. Let me check here, make sure I get the right names. So this one, it was from a little earlier, actually a lot earlier, basically last year. And I mentioned it in a previous episode, but I didn't get to play it on here. So I wanted to play this one. And this is from Tammy, and she needs to get credit for catching this. This is not a new catch, but it is definitely one that people may not be completely aware of. So take it away, Tammy.
Hi, Alan. This is Tammy in Chicago, and we just wanted to share that my husband and I were watching Christmas in Connecticut, which is a 1945 film with Barbara Stanwyck and Dennis Morgan and Sidney Greenstreet. And in the country dance scene, we were shocked to see one of the people sitting on the sidelines was Mr. Schwamp. We could not believe our eyes. It is so fun. I'm going to try to get a screenshot of that and email it to you. But if you check out the dancing on Christmas night in the town hall, you will see Mr. Schwamp on the sidelines there doing what he does best, smiling and sitting and watching. So Merry Christmas to you and your family. God bless.
So, Tammy, thank you so much for taking time to call in. Yes, and everybody, people have seen this for years. I don't remember how many, but people have mentioned they think this is Mr. Schwamp. We can't confirm, mainly because we don't know who Mr. Schwamp really was. But if you look at Mr. Schwamp and then go back and look at the person in Christmas in Connecticut, it definitely looks like a little bit younger version of Mr. Schwamp. So we all think that it probably is him. It's a high likelihood, but we just can't confirm. It may or may not be, but great eye, Tammy, because even if other people had seen it before, if you see it, you get credit for being a trained noticer. So good job. There you go. And I'd mentioned this one before, and I think I didn't get to play it. And so I wanted to throw this back out so we could all see this one. And this one was an interesting one I got. This is from Jason, and I had never heard this before, nor I had ever thought about it, but he has a really good question here. So go ahead and take it away.
Hey, Alan. This is Jason Carter, Rock Hill, South Carolina. I was just watching the episode Howard the Comedian, and when they were on Colonel Tim's for the first time, it shows Andy standing in the wings and watching a young girl twirl a baton. I guess that was her talent. But it's funny, it reminded me of A Face in the Crowd when Lonesome Rhodes falls for the little young girl that's twirling the baton. I just wonder if that was intentional, if they did it on purpose or not. I don't know if you ever called it. Anyway, you're doing a great job, and I appreciate everything you do. Y'all take care and have a good day.
Wow, thank you, Jason. Thank you very much. And no, I had never caught this before and had never really thought about it. If you guys have never seen A Face in the Crowd, it's a really, I think, an amazing movie and one worth watching. Now, if you're a big Andy Griffith show fan, Andy in that movie is not a good person. So if you don't want to see Andy Griffith in a role where he's not a Andy Taylor type person, you probably don't want to watch A Face in the Crowd. But I think it's a very good movie. It's really about, if you've never seen it, it's basically about how a media person, somebody in the media, can manipulate the audience into thinking there's something they're not. And it's a very interesting take on how mass media would work. And this was, a long time ago, right? So it's pretty interesting. And I don't know if that was a nod or not, but there's definitely the scene where Howard and Andy are standing back behind the scenes and have the girl twirling, which was definitely something that happened in Facing the Crowd. So great catch. Again, trained noticer and combining things from one show to the other. Great job. And thank you so much for pointing that out. Now, the last thing I have for us, as far as things I'm trying to catch up with, we had a really interesting thing that came up in the last, week or so. Larry Granger wrote to me and was asking about the episode A Date for Gomer. Now, the episode of Date for Gomer is the one that was airing closest to the time when President John F. Kennedy was assassinated back in 1963. So there are all kinds of websites and things that have A Date for Gomer shown as airing on November the 25th, which is the Monday. President Kennedy was shot on a Friday. And then on Monday, it shows that the Andy Griffith Show, they showed that episode, A Date for Gomer. Well, in Larry's research and looking around, he found a website that is called TV Obscurities. TV Obscurities is the name of the website. We'll put a link to it in our show notes so that you'll be able to look at this as well. I'd never seen this, but there was a question on there. What America didn't watch Monday, November 25th, 1963. And basically what they're talking about there is President Kennedy had been assassinated on that Friday. And then on that Monday was the funeral and all that. So they were kind of wall to wall, all the television networks. Remember, all three of them. There were only three, and maybe PBS or something back those days. But they were basically wall to wall covering that. In the afternoon was when President Kennedy was memorialized or so they basically preempted all the television programming on that Monday night, November 25th, 1963. So A Date for Gomer didn't actually air that day. Even though every book I have, all of them, I mean, pretty much I looked at all the books, they all had that it was the air date. Turns out it wasn't. If you go and look on IMDb even, you will see references to the air date being the 9th of December. So they skipped a week even. They didn't just do it. They skipped a whole week. So IMDb will show you episode aired 9 December 1963, A Date for Gomer. So anyway, Larry caught this and said, "Hey, has anybody ever seen this? What do you know about this?" I didn't know anything about it, but sure enough, all the information was wrong. I run the website, Mayberry.info, and even on Mayberry.info, we had the wrong dates. A Date for Gomer showed up as airing on the 25th of November. And I just today, after we were looking into this and everything, I went in and changed that information on the actual episode information. So it now tells you that it was originally scheduled to air on the 25th, but it was delayed until December the 9th, 1963. So I don't know if anybody really cares about that, but it was a very interesting catch, and it's a decoy, they're saying in the chat room, a decoy, Shazam. So yes, that for some reason has been misreported for all these years, the date that this episode actually aired. Now, this is not going to be until season 4 as we go through episodes looking at it. But it was, according to all the notes, it was the 105th episode filmed, but it was aired 104th. So, that I don't know if that is actually correct, because Up in Barney's Room was actually the 105th episode aired, and it came on December the 2nd. And then there is no, if you look in the list of when episodes were, there is no episode listed as being on December the 9th. But they did show Citizens Arrest on December the 16th. So we will get this corrected on Mayberry.info. If you want to go and check out over at Mayberry.info, it is the Mayberry Historical Society. And you can go over there and you can help us keep all this information up to date while you're there. So thank you to Larry Granger for pointing this out. He did a great job noting this and pulling out the information. And I think that's got us fairly well caught up. So thank you very much, guys. So since I got us caught up here and we're not too far behind, last week, one of the questions we did from Paul Mulik, a trivia question, the answer to the question was actually a Poor Butterflies, about the episode, about the music that plays. So he had this to add to Poor Butterfly. That's the music, you hear when Naomi is dancing around, the convicts at large, when they're dancing around, they're da, 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 that music. So he says, it occurred to me that the song Poor Butterfly, heard when Naomi smashes the vase over Floyd's head, Naomi and her husband, it was their song, you'll remember that, is the same song heard at Mrs. Wiley's tea party when Ernest T. Bass smashes a vase over the head of a man who cut in to dance with Ramona. That's interesting. I never thought about that. It is the exact same song, two vases on two different heads that get smashed right there. You don't suppose Naomi was once married to Ernest T. Bass, and that's where he got the idea. I guess probably not. Perhaps you'd like to mention this, he said, which is, I am doing that. This is great there. He said, also in the episode, Look, Paul, I'm Dancing, Aunt Bee states her intention to buy some dance records and asks the men for some suggestions. And Floyd, he suggested Poor Butterfly, Roses of Picardy, and Yes, We Have No Bananas. So there's those connections to Poor Butterfly during the seasons of the Andy Griffith Show. I'd never picked up on the fact that Floyd got hit over the head with a vase with that music playing, and then yes, Ernest T. Bass busted the guy over the head and knocked him out also with that music playing. So wow, be careful if you hear that music and watch people that might have vases in their hands. So thank you. Thank you, Paul, for pointing those things out. That is great. All right, guys. So now we're going to do some more trivia if everybody's ready. This is different trivia. It's kind of like what we did last week. And a lot of folks said they really enjoyed it. And so we're going to play it a little bit more this week. So here we go. You ready? So this is Who Said It? Just like we did last week. There's 8 questions plus a bonus question at the end. So if everybody is ready, our chat room here live on Monday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you go to live.2chairsnowaiting.com, they're going to be playing along with us as we go. So who said it? Question number 1, guys. Who said it? Here's the question. Here's what the quote is. Hey, mister, you're all tied up to a tree. Okay. Who said, hey, mister, you're all tied up to a tree? Oh, see, that one's kind of hard. I'm not going to do the voices either because it makes it too easy. That one's a little bit hard, I think. Okay, so if you got it, you're going to try. Folks in the chat room's getting it right. Hey, mister, you're all tied up to a tree. Who said it was Gomer in Andy's Vacation? You know, when Neil was tied to the tree, he let him loose. That's who it was. It was Gomer. Gomer said that. Question number 2. Now, if you don't get this one, I'd be very surprised because this one seems, the next couple here seem pretty easy. Okay, question 2. This is the quote. Pudding-tang. Ask me again and I'll tell you the same. So the quote, who said, Pudding-tang. Ask me again and I'll tell you the same. Who said that? That one, I think that one's pretty easy. All right, I'll give you the Pudding-tang. Ask me again, I'll tell you the same. The person who said it, pause if you don't want to hear, but the person who said it is Barney in the Jailbreak episode. You know, he was dressed up like a criminal and got in the jail cell with him. Pudding-tang. Ask me again, I'll tell you the same. He's trying to act tough. All right, number 3. Question number 3. This one I think is pretty easy too. All right, here's the question. Quote, who said it? That's the clunker I sold to that boob in Mayberry. Okay, who said that? That's the clunker I sold to that boob in Mayberry. See, I think this one's pretty easy. Some of these are easier than others to me. Some of them are really hard. I didn't get them. All right, and these are all by Paul Mulik, by the way. So Paul Mulik, thank you. Thank you so much for these questions. I love them. All right, last read, and you give me the answer. Who said, that's the clunker I sold to that boob in Mayberry? The answer is It was Mrs. Lesh. Mrs. Lesh said it in Barney's first car. All right. Number 4. There's 8 questions plus a bonus. This one's hard, I think. I don't think I would have got this one. Okay, question number 4. Who said, "That's me, able-bodied man"? Who said, "That's me, able-bodied man"? See, I don't think I would have gotten this one. I did not remember this one. Who said, "That's me, able-bodied man"? Okay. The answer to who said, "That's me, able-bodied man." People in the chat room are getting this. I didn't get it. I wouldn't have got this one. It's Ernest T. Bass. Ernest T. said this when Ernest T. joined the Army. It's in the episode Ernest T. Bass joins the Army. That's me, able-bodied man. So it was Ernest T. Good job, folks. Wow, y'all are good. All right, number 5. Who said, "That's a pretty good joke, but the joke's over"? I think that one's not too bad if you can pick up on it. Who said, "That's a pretty good joke, but the joke's over"? Who said that? Okay. All right. Who said, "That's a pretty good joke, but the joke's over"? The answer is it was Andy and Lawman Barney. When those guys were selling stuff on the side of the road, it's a pretty good joke. The joke's over. All right. Number 6. Who said, "I've told you not once, not twice, but 3 different times you're not supposed to do that"? Okay. Who said, "I've told you not once, not twice, but 3 different times you're not supposed to do that"? Okay. All right. Last read. Who said, "I've told you not once, not twice, but 3 different times you're not supposed to do that"? Okay. The answer as to who said that is Barney. Barney said that in Barney's uniform, that episode, Barney's uniform. Okay. Number 7. We got 2 more questions and a little bonus that you can try for. All right. Again, thanks to Paul Mulik for these. Number 7. Who said, "Are we going to talk or are we going to fight"? See, I would have missed this one, I think. Who said, "Are we going to talk or are we going to fight"? Number 7. Are we going to talk or are we going to fight? Who said it? All right. The answer is Howard Sprague. Howard Sprague said it in Howard's main event. Are we going to talk or are we going to fight? All right, folks in the chat room, good job. How did you do? I don't think I would have gotten that one. I would have thought that was maybe Clarence Earp or something. You know, that's who I would have probably said. All right, number 8. This is the last one, and then a bonus. Who said disgraceful lack of police protection nowadays? Who said disgraceful lack of police protection nowadays? Disgraceful lack of police protection nowadays. Who said that? Whew. See, that seems hard. That one's hard too, to me. Who said disgraceful lack of police protection nowadays? Okay. So the answer to that, who said that, is C.J. Hassler, the jewel thief, in Andy and Barney in the Big City. Andy and Barney in the Big City. That was the jewel thief. Disgraceful lack of police protection nowadays. Whew. Good. That was good. So, hey, I think Emmett got it in the chat room. Good job, Emmett. Okay, so here's the bonus question. What do all of the quotes I just did, what do all those quotes have in common? Oh, that one's tough. the bonus question is, what did all the quotes, what do they have in common? Does anybody know? Okay. Let you think about it here. I kind of hate to give you the answer right away, so be thinking about that. What do all these quotes have in common? All right. I'm going to give you the answer in just a minute, but I'm going to get you to think about it just a little bit, what they might be. What do all those quotes have in common? Folks, I am so thankful for just all the support and stuff I get here on the podcast, and thankful for all that you guys do. There are so many events coming up in the coming year in Mayberry. If you head over to iMayberry.com, you can check out the event calendar. It takes you over to Weaver's department store, the event calendar there. But it's the Mayberry event calendar, Floyd's Barbershop bulletin board. There are events happening all over the place this year, and I wanted to just mention a few of them. There's some coming up pretty soon here. Karen Knotts is going to be doing her one woman show in Sylacauga, Alabama on February the 3rd at 7 p.m. So if you're in that area, head down there. And February the 10th, Mayberry and 40 Acres Backlot. It's a lecture that's going to begin at 11 a.m. up at the Mid-America Science Park in Scottsburg, Indiana, by our very own roving reporter, Randy Turner. So head up there and check that out. If you're in the Scottsburg, Indiana area, get you started, ready for Mayberry Comes to Scottsburg this year. He's going to be talking about the 40 Acres Backlot and all the different TV shows and movies that were filmed there and the history of it. It is amazing, a part of that I think you would definitely enjoy. So definitely consider coming out to that. They're going to have a meet and greet and everything after it. All the information's there in the event calendar, but go and check that out. February 10th, guys, great time to go and do some of this stuff. Let's see, the George Lindsay Film Festival is coming up in March on, the 29th of February and through the 2nd of March. The 27th annual George Lindsay Film Festival is coming up. This is the 4th annual Mayberry I Love Lucy Festival in Granville, Tennessee. It's coming up in April the 11th through the 13th. Start making plans, guys. There's so many of these wonderful events coming that I don't want you to miss. So go and check that out. Keith Thibodeau is going to be there. Johnny Paul, and he was also Little Ricky on I Love Lucy. Dennis Rush, Johnny Paul's buddy, Opie's buddy, Howie. He's going to be there. Karen Knotts will be there, as will Dixie Griffith. So we're going to have all kinds of fun going on there. There's going to be interviews of some of these folks together, shows. Guys, it's a great weekend there in Granville, Tennessee. And the last one I'll mention right now is coming up in May, but you can go check out the event calendar to see everything. It's called the Mayberry Retreat, May 8th through the 10th. It's also hosted by Randy Turner. And it's going to be a great time there. They're going to have bluegrass player there, our buddy Tim White from the VW Boys, who provides us so much of our background music and stuff that we play here on the podcast. And it's not even on the website yet, but I wanted to declare this. The special guest for the Mayberry Retreat is David Browning. Now, many of you guys will remember David as the Barney, the Mayberry deputy, for so many years. It entertained us at all these Mayberry events, and he will be at Randy's event, the Mayberry Retreat, not as Barney, but as him. He's going to be interviewed. We're going to talk to him about his experiences and all the amazing things he's gotten to do over the years because of Mayberry and the people he met and all that kind of stuff. I am looking so forward to this. So you got Tim White doing some music for us. You got David Browning will be there. And, of course, Randy Turner will be there leading the whole event. That's a really cool event. Go check it out. You can go to mayberrybooks.com/Mayberry Retreat, and it'll take you right to it. All right. No more sales pitches, but I wanted you to see that and head over to the iMayberry.com and go to the event calendar, and you can check that out. And for some reason, I can't get back up to my So nobody can see me now on the actual video screens. So anyway, guys, we are done anyhow. So, hey, thanks for being here with me. I would love to hear from you coming up. Oh, I forgot to tell you the answer to the bonus question. What do all those trivia questions have in common? Have y'all figured it out yet? The answer is all of the quotes are by two characters played by Alan Melvin, Sam the Butcher. All the quotes were spoken to characters played by Alan Melvin. Oh, there you go. Now you know the answer. You got it. So, guys, hope you had a good time tonight. I would love to hear from you. You can give me a call at 888-684-8415. You can email me at floyd@imayberry.com, or you can just drop by twocairsnowaiting.com and let me know what you think. All right, guys. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next week right here on Two Chairs. Good night, everybody.